6 p.m. in Bonduma, that is in the southwest region of Cameroon. Same time right here in Aquadola. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 6 p.m. edition of the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. At least 27 children within the age range of 4 to 14 years old have been arrested in the course of a raid carried out in the far north region of Cameroon. The arrest comes after the senior divisional officer for the Diamari division began implementing measures on the ground to keep children away from rivers after 5 children drowned to death in the river Mayo Kaliao. Also, we'll tell you how civil society actors and political leaders condemn the increase in the cost of obtaining the identity card in Cameroon. They are highlighting the already high cost of living and inflation, considering the fact that several Cameroonians are living below the poverty line. You'll be getting the reactions of some prominent political figures in this news edition. Stay with us. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. At least 27 children within the age range of 4 to 14 years of age have been arrested in Maroua. They were arrested around the 3 rivers flowing through the far north region. The arrest comes after the senior divisional officer for the Diamari instructed parents not to allow their children to go to rivers to swim or take a bath after 5 children drowned to death in river Mayo Kaliao. We have details with A.C. Luciliago.
The senior divisional officer of Diamari, during an operation accompanied by security forces, arrests 27 children aged 4 and 14 who were found at Mayo Kaliao River. This comes days after 5 children aged 7 and 12 drowned in the river. Jean-Marc Ekwabaga sticks to his decision of arresting children found at river banks, mostly during this period of intense rainfall.
Avec le retour des pluies, nous avons fait un communiqué.
During this period of rainy season, we sent out a communique informing parents that we have taken strict measures against children who wander about at the river banks, and they will be arrested and kept in police cell for their parents to come and answer questions why they have to neglect their children.
Commissariat de sécurité publique, et nous allons attendre que les parents viennent répondre de leur négligence.
Security forces join their voices, calling on parents to stop leaving their children loose, putting at risk their lives. We will keep disseminating the message. Protecting our children is our priority. Meantime, the 27 children who were kept at the Maroua Central Police Station were later released and handed to their parents. The parents were cautioned against letting their children to wander about without supervision.
And now we talk something else. Political and civil society leaders condemn the increase in the cost of obtaining an identity card in Cameroon. They are highlighting the already high cost of living and inflation, considering the fact that several Cameroonians are living below the poverty line, as Seji Chakutio tells us.
The price of the national identity card rises from 2,800 francs to 15,500 francs in Cameroon in a context of inflation. Carrying out such an increase in the national identification card, which only yesterday cost 2,800 francs, is, according to Professor Maurice Kamto, a decision which is a matter of the regime's I don't care attitude. Reacting to the ordinance of June 20, 2024 of the head of state, the national president of the CRM party says that this decision will worsen the living condition of many Cameroonians. Professor Maurice Kamto regrets that the production of the national identity card and passport, which falls under state sovereignty and which also contributes to defense and national security, is also entrusted to foreign companies to the detriment of local enterprises. The cost of entry visas to Cameroon, the pass and consular cards are not spared by the ordinance of June 20th. The international anti-corruption crusader Barrister Akere Muna questions why poor citizens should bear this burden. He says again, the government can retrieve at least 900 billion francs CFA from the Genclaw corruption scandal, with which it can subsidize the production of identity cards for Cameroonians at an affordable cost. While Cameroon is increasing the cost to establish an ID card to 15,500 francs, some countries in the CEMAC zone like the Central African Republic, an ID card is 6,750 francs. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, only Congolese citizens with Congolese parents are eligible for identification. They must provide details such as their province of origin, territory, village, as well as information about their grandparents to have an ID card. And in Chad, the national identity card is 5,000 francs.
And now the Popular Action Party has reiterated the call for the resolution of the close to 8-year-old Anglophone crisis, the revision of Cameroon's electoral system to ensure free, fair and transparent elections come next year. The call was made during the party's first ever national convention that took place in Buea. Babla Jonathan reports.
Support an Anglophone aspirant in the upcoming elections in 2025.
The Popular Action Party declares its support for an Anglophone candidate in the 2025 presidential election.
PAP.
Action, 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 now.
Secretary General Njine Elvis Bane re-echoed this at the party's first ever national convention in Buea. To ensure credible and transparent elections, the PAP reiterates an old demand of opposition parties in Cameroon.
The various bodies in charge of electoral processes in Cameroon be revised and membership into these bodies be arrived at through consensus with all stakeholders in that domain.
Addressing a handful of militants, supporters and sympathizers of the party, including senior statesmen and women like Barrister Kere Muna and leaders of other political parties, the PAP Secretary General raised the issue of the raging armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions with another suggestion that has been on government's table for the past 7 years.
The PAP therefore appeals for a more inclusive dialogue with stakeholders and all actors in the conflict. We equally appeal to non-state armed groups operating in these two regions to give peace a chance.
Inflation is another problem examined by the convention participants.
The PAP again is appealing to the authorities to match this increase in prices with a correspondent increase in wages as well as cash flow in our economy.
At the end of the day, Njang Dennis Tabe was given the baton of command of the party founded by former Supreme Court Magistrate Ayapola Bini and urged not to fail Cameroonians.
Tomorrow, don't fail us as order.
Babila Jonathan reporting there. And we stay in the southwest region as the board of directors of the National School of Local Administration, NASLA, met recently the school of the institution in the town of Buea for their 9th ordinary session to examine and to adopt the administrative and management accounts of the 2023 financial year. In the course of the meeting, it was revealed that at least 70.22% of projects have been realized, as Malaglary tells us.
In its 9th ordinary session on June 21, 2024, the Board of Directors of the National School of Local Administration, NASLA, spilled the beans regarding their difficulties in the institution.
Because of budgetary constraints that are not only particular to us, but national. Other challenges, well, our particular environment makes it that sometimes we experience events that are not particular to us, but that come from our socio-political, economic environments to which we have to adapt.
The meeting focused on the examination and the adoption of the administrative and management accounts of the 2023 financial year. The Director General of NASLA, however, mentioned some key points during the meeting that took place in the boardroom of the institution in the town of Buea, southwest region.
Management report was examined, the management accounts too, performance report, management account, the management accounts of the accounting officer, the budget execution report of the finance controller.
The meeting that was chaired by Mota Osman May revealed that the revenue of the said account stood at 2,880,743,947, corresponding to a 70.22% realization rate. According to the director, the board was satisfied by the performance of the structure, but however, gave some recommendations.
A few key elements were also discussed, amongst which was the question of the organization of the entrance exam, each free organization, the ongoing training for the students currently on campus, avenues for guaranteeing their recruitment by regional and local authorities at the end of the training.
The meeting ended with hopes that the board will restructure the organization of entrance exams into NASLA.
And now to something else. The Director General of the National Consignment Fund, SIDEC, has threatened to punish financial institutions yet to surrender idle funds in their keeping. Reviewing the performance of the institution 18 months after creation, the director warned individuals and managers of microfinance institutions of possible criminal liability should they attempt to avoid or avail disposition of due funds to SIDEC, as Fomi Armstrong Sanda reports.
A whopping sum of 7,921,551.18 thousand francs CFA transferred from the Société Générale Cameroon to the Deposit and Consignment Fund (SEDEC) is the latest major achievement of the institution 18 months after creation.
La date butoir était prévue pour le 31.
While revealing this information in Yaoundé, the director of the Deposit and Consignment Fund, Richard Evina Obams, threatened to go tough on financial institutions yet to surrender idle funds in their keeping.
Société Générale fait partie de ces banques.
Conscious of the hurdles in the process, the director said they have carried out sensitization of holders of funds and values devolved to SEDEC and signed conventions with the actors.
Du 31 mai 2024.
Some of the actors, according to him, have shown exemplary citizenship through a spontaneous transfer of funds and securities to the SEDEC since 2023.
900 millions, donc à peu près 8 milliards.
However, he spared no effort to denounce those companies which, according to him, evoke fallacious arguments to avoid transferring funds and values to the institution as stipulated by the law. After the voluntary collection phase, the National Consignment Fund will engage a compulsory collection from companies as provided for by the law. As part of the third phase, the Director General warns that individuals or managers of microfinance establishments who initiate actions aimed at evading or withholding SEDEC due funds will incur criminality liability.
And now to our sports page. A sports journalist at Radio Foot International of RFE says the Confederation of African Football has sold its rights to the World Football Governing Body, FIFA, reasons why there is no fixed date again for the African Football Saucer Jamboree AFCON. According to Euro Mangara, it is time for Africa to take the bull by the horn to stand firm on their decision, as Magic and Gabriel tells us.
Nigerian athletes Chukwu Ebuka was alone during the medal ceremony of this shot put event after two athletes from Algeria, Mustafa Hassan and Mohamed Khalifa, denied collecting the medals because of what they termed poor organization of the ongoing African Athletics Championship. Mabundu Kone of Cote d'Ivoire also decried the time spent to come to Cameroon because, according to her, the hospitality and organization is poor. Eseme Alogwede, who was also misled by the technical team in the first 100 meters men's heat and was in his hotel room before he returned to participate at the final of his category, are just some of the many shortcomings experienced by the athletes in Cameroon. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education, in an evaluation meeting, says measures should be taken to facilitate the remaining events left. Everyone should be vigilant, remain steadfast against bad faith persons who spread fake information to spoil the organization of the event, react promptly to any need from the African Athletics Confederation. The Minister of Sports and Physical Education also sent this message to the different committee members. Pay the bonuses of athletes who made the podium according to the amount agreed and put at their dispositions. As a new delegation arrives, economize the cost rather than increasing the amount. The evaluation meeting that held at the governor's office was also used to prepare for the closing ceremony of the 23rd edition of the Senior African Athletics Championship.
And the African Cup of Nations will commence from December 21st, 2025 to January 8 in 2026, and it will be played in Morocco. That's it for the first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Tonight on Talking Point, we'll be looking at the recent outing made by the governor of the Southwest region, Benau Kalabilai, who called on the population to terrorize the tourists. With me in the studio, we're going straight away to Boya, where our guest is live. He is a human rights defender known as G. Lucas. Good evening, G. Lucas. It is a pleasure to have you on Talking Point tonight. The Chief Executive Officer of the Southwest region gives a pass mark as far as security is concerned in this region. Looking at recent attacks recorded in the Southwest region where you are currently based, do you share the same view?
Well, at the end of the day, there is what we have to note here is that Benau Kalabilai, who is the governor of the Southwest region, is the chief executive officer of the region. And his remark with regards to the security situation on the ground, which he says the security agents have a pass back, I think it's subjective. We should not forget that it's quite unfortunate that today is a Monday and I cannot go to Kumba. If I have to go to Kumba, I must be airlifted or I must go in an armored car. So you may want to ask yourself this question. Is it a pass mark? Is it a pass mark that the insecurity has been eradicated? Which, of course, I don't think it is the case. We should not also forget that it was not long in the Maroua division where the non-state armed groups had to kill 5 of our state security forces. So when we talk about the pass mark, I think probably he is basing on his immediate environment, which I may want to say is Boya, in the sense that he is not in the BLM. We should not forget that the just ended GCE exams, out of the 80 candidates that were identified both in the advanced and the ordinary level, they all did not write in the BLM division. So what parameter is used to say that the security in the Southwest region has a pass mark? Is it a pass mark that we are still in a deep insecurity state, or we are in a relative calm state which he qualifies to be a pass mark?
As someone who is based in Boya, I guess you have seen what's happening there. Telling the armless population to terrorize the terrorists by denouncing them, does that not put the population in danger?
On the other hand, with regards to this issue of security and calling on the population to terrorize the terrorists, yes, we know that as per the 2014 law in Cameroon, Cho Ayaba is a terrorist. We have a good number of them. It's a terrorist. These are all terrorists terrorizing the innocent population of the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon with the plight that they want to reinstate what they consider to be the state of Ambazonia, which of course we know that historically it did not exist. Howbeit, that is not our focus. We have the marginalization of the Anglophones in Cameroon. Prominent professors have written on this. We have professors like Professor Maroua have written on the Anglophone marginalization with regards to why the Anglophones are not comfortable. So when we say we should terrorize terrorists, in this case, the question is, who are these persons to terrorize terrorists? We know exactly that the non-state armed groups, what they have in mind is that their arm is that which speaks better for them. So you may want to ask yourself a question. How can an innocent, how can an armless person terrorize a terrorist. I know that there was a time the governor, I think he did clarify, if I can remember, I think he clarified that he insinuated that the people should be able to cooperate, they need to denounce, they need to report, and so on. Yes, the people have been doing this for all these years. Not everyone is actually in support of what the non-state armed groups are doing. It is the reason why there are people who cannot live in the southwest region because they consider them to be blacklegs. Therefore, they have always been doing this. But you cannot terrorize a terrorist with arms, except you want to say that we are actually saying that there should be a terrorist who is positive and a terrorist who is negative.
Now, we know today is Monday and a ghost town day in the southwest region. What are some challenges inhabitants face on such a day? You can equally cite yourself as an example.
Well, if you may have noticed, I'm sure you did get the report. Last week, Monday, as the case was, the non-state armed groups within the locality in my 16, locality in Boya, my 16 particularly, they rained. Now, the bullets which the community heard, the gunshot which the community got, was as a result of this. It's as a result of what they claim to be a day which the people do not respect, which is the Ghost Town Day. And as it is, if you go to the My 17 bus station to board a car to Kumba or to Muyuka or to Ikuna, I tell you, it is impossible for you to have a car that is going down to those areas. This is because the aforementioned pass mark by the governor with regard to these insecurity situations or with regard to the state of security, I think it would be good that he should elaborate on it, because the people cannot carry out the activity as they ought to. Go to localities in Boya, move along the streets of Moliko today, certain offices are not open. Go up to the area where you have the governor's office. Go up towards Boya town. There are shops that are not open. There are people, because of the fear of the terrorists, who are terrorizing the people. This we cannot refuse. We have persons who have decided that the people should not enjoy their social, economic rights, which at this juncture, they cannot make a move. They cannot go out. You cannot go to Muyuka. You cannot board a car to Muyuka. You cannot leave Kumba to or Ndian, or Mene to Ndian. You cannot leave Meme to Manyu. You cannot leave Manyu to Lebialem. You cannot leave to Kupe Mwanenguba within the southwest regions of Cameroon because of what? The insecurity. So Monday is one of the very difficult days for the people, because the non-state armed groups, they consider it to be a statutory lockdown day where they claim that no one should violate it. And this is in total violation of the right of the people. The people's rights have been violated. It's being violated daily by the non-state armed groups. But because the people are caught between these crises, how do they manage themselves? Because you have the belligerent A and the belligerent B. No one wants to say that he is an antagonist. Everyone wants to say I'm the protagonist. No one wants to say that he's the protagonist. Everyone is saying that I'm the antagonist. So it becomes very difficult. But I want to say that Mondays are a day where the people cannot move. And this day is actually put the way it is by the non-state armed groups, which is in total violation of the freedom of movement and the people's rights to carry out their economic activities.
Now, G. Lucas, still in connection to the rising insecurity witnessed in both regions, taxi drivers and bike riders syndicate in Bamenda town, in the northwest region, stood up against the continuous barbarism, kidnappings, torture and destruction of their taxis. It is quite clear that rights have been trampled upon, reason for the protest. How can we describe this continuous attack on people who are barely struggling to survive?
Firstly, I want to totally condemn what Cho Ayaba is doing. I condemn it with my entire energy, what Cho Ayaba is doing. Ayaba Cho claims that he is the commander on the ground. The people have resorted to taking their destiny in their hands. I'm afraid for one reason. They do not have the same measure of force the non-state armed groups have. We are talking about a people who have arms and ammunition they are fighting with. The armless population do not have this. I was discussing somewhere in a conference, then I told the people, the state of Cameroon, as per what the head of state said, that those who had killed the gendarmes, he is actually declaring war against them. It is the same thing that the population is fighting today. Yes, because it is in the hands of the state. He is the commander-in-chief, a job that he requested from Cameroonians in 2018, that they should renew his contract through elections, that he would defend the territorial integrity of the republic. And today we are saying that there is a general who was transferred to the Northwest region, and the people were happy because they thought that, having had success in other ends, the said general was going to make the Northwest region have the relative peace or the peace the people need. But today the non-state armed groups, they have resorted to wreak havoc on the people, burning their taxes, destroying their bikes, causing the people, when it's 5 p.m., they cannot go out. So the government of Cameroon, as per the social contract that we have, they have the duty to protect the people. The people may have the responsibility to cooperate, which they have been doing. What are the military doing in Bamenda? It is their job. We see videos on social media where these boys will come out in broad daylight to halt the activities of the people. It is the reason we pay the security forces. It is their job. They have to do their job. It is not a situation where the people need to pay the security and they pay again with their lives. I know that there are some executive officials or top executive officials who think that the population is cooperating as such, they should suffer. We should avoid a genocide, because what will happen afterward when these people are unable to confront the non-state armed groups? So it will be very difficult for these people to confront the non-state armed groups. They don't have arms. How do they fight? They have simply decided that they would rather die because they want to protect themselves and their property. This is the duty of the army.
And now the consumption of hard drugs seems to be on the rise in the Southwest region. Recently, we saw some women of the Southwest region destroying some hideouts of drug addicts in Kumba in the Mehmet division. What extra efforts could be taken to mitigate drug consumption in that part of the region?
As simple as it is, Immaculate, it is obvious that all we need to do is to denounce and to cooperate. The women who came out are similar to a certain period where some people within the Bomaka community in Boya came out, chased out these hard drug consumers within their different localities. It is punishable by our law. Our penal code punishes that. Now, the problem is, most of these drug addicts, they keep telling us that they don't import. People import. There are foreign drugs. It is not the marijuana which some people would think they plant it around. We are talking about caillou, we are talking about cocaine. We are talking about other hard drugs which are involved here. So who should in this case handle this? I think though they would have smuggled some of these drugs, as we observed there was some time ago at Douala International Airport, they were intercepted by the brilliant forces, by the brilliant police force at the airport. They intercepted some of these drugs. They can do the same. We can do the same. So the women, they are doing their best. But you know, some of these persons who also consume drug, Immaculate, they are like wild dogs. They are like wild animals. Sometimes, some of them, because the craving to take these drugs is very difficult for you to live. How do you take drugs when you cannot? And this is the cause of the high crime wave within the area. This is what is actually causing the petty thieves that we have within our communities. So I think that the women are doing something good. The population needs to come on massively to denounce, cooperate. If it's your brother who is taking drug, please open up to the security forces, open up to the state. We want to make it better.
J. Lucas, human rights defender, speaking to us right away from Boya, that is a chief town of the Southwest region. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. And that's where we'll put an end to today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying tuned or staying keen to our programs. Stay in the company of the program Equinoxe, presented by Sesh Alan Otto. Bye-bye for now.